What if I told you that the happiest man on earth was a man who lost everything? His family, his freedom, even his name. And yet he smiled more than most of us ever do. His name was Eddie Jaku, a Holocaust survivor, a father, a husband, and most surprisingly, a man who believed in love, gratitude, and hope even in the darkest corners of history. Today, we're going to walk through his life. Not just a story of war, but a story of how the human spirit can rise from ashes and choose joy over hatred. This isn't just a summary. It's a reminder of what it means to be human. Eddie Jaku was born in Leipzig, Germany in 1920. He was Jewish, but more than that, he was German. His father was an engineer, and his family was deeply rooted in the country they loved. He grew up believing in education, decency, and hard work. His life was normal: school, friends, pets. He even said, "I had a dog, I had a bike, I was proud to be German." But beneath the surface, the world was shifting. And soon, that shift would shatter everything. When Hitler rose to power, anti-Semitism wasn't just an idea anymore, it was law. Jews were banned from schools, public spaces, work. Eddie was just a teenager when he was forced out of his school. His best friends turned away, teachers ignored him. His world shrank, and hate started to fill the empty spaces. His father, seeing danger coming, gave him a new name and new identity papers. Eddie was sent to an engineering school under a false identity, hoping to stay safe by blending in. He thought he'd escaped. But the storm was only beginning. It was the 9th of November, 1938. Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass. Across Germany, Nazis destroyed synagogues, smashed Jewish-owned shops, and rounded up thousands of innocent people. Eddie, returning home to surprise his parents, walked into a nightmare. His house was destroyed, his family gone, and before he could escape, he was arrested. He was taken to Buchenwald of the first Nazi concentration camps. There, he faced what no teenager should ever face. Men were beaten, executed, starved. But Eddie had something the guards didn't expect: a skill. Because of his engineering training, he was marked as useful. And in Nazi Germany, being useful could mean the difference between life and death. Buchenwald was just the beginning. Eddie would later be transferred to Auschwitz, the deadliest camp of all. Here, he was no longer Eddie Jaku. He was just a number. He slept in wooden barracks with hundreds of others, stacked like logs. He ate moldy bread, soup made of water and rotten vegetables. Each day was a fight not just for food, but for sanity. He saw mothers torn from their children. He saw friends disappear overnight. He saw people give up because when hope dies, the body follows. But Eddie held on. He held on to his father, who was imprisoned with him. They supported each other, whispered encouragement in the dark, shared their food when there was none to spare. As long as we are alive, his father told him, we must keep hoping. Then one day, his father was gone. No goodbye, no funeral, just gone. And Eddie had a choice. Would he hate the world that took his father? Or would he keep going for his father's sake? In 1945, as the Allies closed in, the Nazis began evacuating the camps. Eddie was forced on a death march, miles and miles through snow, with no food, no shoes, and no destination. Many collapsed. Many were shot. But Eddie kept moving, one foot, then the next. Then came a chance. Under cover of night, he and a small group escaped into the forest. They hid, drank rainwater, ate roots, anything to survive. For weeks, he wandered until finally he was rescued by American soldiers. Freedom. But when he returned home, there was no home left. His mother, his sister, all murdered in the camps. He was truly alone. After the war, Eddie had every reason to be bitter. He had lost almost everyone he loved. His homeland had betrayed him, and the world had stood by while millions were murdered. But instead of hatred, Eddie chose something else. He migrated to Australia, hoping to build a life far from the shadows of Europe. There, he met Flor, the woman who would become his wife. They built a family, had children, grandchildren, and for the first time in years, he began to smile again. But Eddie didn't just want to survive. He wanted to teach. He believed that if his story could stop one child from hating another, if it could remind just one person to value life, then all his pain had meaning. So he began to share his story in schools, on stages, at museums. He became a volunteer at the Sydney Jewish Museum, meeting thousands of people every year. Not to spread anger, but to spread hope. Eddie often said, "Happiness does not fall from the sky. It is in your hands." He had every reason to be angry at life, but instead he believed that gratitude was stronger than pain. He woke up every day and made a choice to smile, to help someone, to give thanks that he was still breathing. He didn't pretend everything was okay. He remembered the horrors. He missed his family. But he also looked at his wife and said, "Every time I see her, I see sunshine." He wasn't rich. He didn't chase fame, but he felt rich because he understood that kindness is wealth and love is legacy. Eddie lived to be 101 years old. He called himself the happiest man on earth, not because he never suffered, but because he never stopped loving. He believed in forgiveness over revenge, compassion over bitterness, and most importantly, action over silence. Here are some of his life lessons, simple but powerful. Smile every day, even if it hurts, because someone else may need it more than you. Hate is a disease. Cure it with kindness. Family is everything. Tell them you love them often. Never judge someone by how they look. You don't know their war. When you help others, you heal yourself. He was a walking reminder that even in the ashes of history, a flower can bloom. Eddie Jaku passed away in 2021, but his story still echoes across classrooms, homes, and hearts. He left behind a book not as a monument to suffering, but as a gift of hope, not filled with anger, but with gratitude. He said, "Life can be beautiful if you make it beautiful." And those words might be the most powerful in the book. Maybe you felt broken. Maybe life has thrown you into storms you didn't ask for. But if Eddie, a man who lost everything, could choose happiness, then so can you. Don't wait for happiness to find you. Create it in every kind act,